What's up, hobby friends, and welcome to this month's vlog. So in keeping with my aggressive schedule, I basically have to push my productivity, and it's been a pretty tough month, getting a little burnt out near the end, but I'm going to talk about that later on near the end of the video. I just want to briefly talk about what I actually managed to accomplish this month, how I'm keeping on track with my schedule, and sort of what's gone in the way of taking it a little bit off track, but also how I've managed to catch up a little bit. So the first 2 weeks of the month was basically wrapping up my Subway board. It ended up taking an extra week that I didn't schedule in because a lot of the prints ended up exploding. So if you've watched some of my previous videos and followed my socials, you'll know that I ran into some 3D printing issues with hollow prints, uncured resin inside, and cracking. So basically, I got detoured by a week having to repaint a lot of the scatter terrain. But I managed to get that done halfway through, and then I was able to move on to just slamming a lot of Marvel miniatures, both for my personal collection as well as for a commission. So for my personal collection, I finished off Captain Carter. I did a Black Widow in her alternate winter scheme, and then I painted up a Baby Yoda for fun for Halloween. Part of the commission, I got about half of it done. Drax, Rocket, Groot, Venom, Carnage, Punisher, and Black Cat. So that's about half of his wave 2. And I still have half of it to do, but I'm confident I'll be able to get it done within the first probably 2 weeks of November. I also built my Convocation. The Convocation was actually a release that I wasn't expecting. I think they had been scheduled for mid-late November just because of the shipping delays due to COVID. But when the hobby shop got them in October, I got waylaid by them for I think about a day just to actually build the models, and then they're so cool and the cards are so neat that I want to play them. I'm going to actually try and fit them into my painting schedule for this year. I don't know how much I'll actually be able to get done, but I'm going to try and at least get some of it started so that I can start playing with them because I don't like playing with unpainted models. One of the things that I typically do as well, I try and do at least once a year, although because I did a big one pre-lockdown, so this would have been 2018, 2019, so I didn't do it for 2020. But basically what I'd like to do is what we do what's called a purge. You're basically clearing out junk and taking a page from Marie Kondo. Marie Kondo? If it doesn't bring me joy, I'm basically getting rid of it. So I've spent a bit of yesterday, I guess today is Sunday, so Saturday, and then most of this early afternoon, more or less clearing out the closet as well as reorganizing my cabinets a little bit. So this is probably the messiest my room has been in quite a while, but a lot of it has just been organizing and sorting through a lot of junk, figuring out what I can throw away. I do have a bits bin down here, and this used to actually be overfilling. And what I did was I consolidated a lot of my random bits and accessories, cut them off the sprue, organized them into baggies very loosely based on what I think I may need them for. And then I think by the end of next year, I'll know what I'll be able to keep and get rid of, and I can just toss what I don't use. Dug up a couple of old Malifaux and Warhammer Fantasy models I'm giving to a friend for his D&D stuff. I had a lot of Space Marine stuff, particularly from a few combat patrols and get started, so I consolidated those into bits off the sprue for conversions, and then I think I have 5 Assault Intercessors, 3 Inceptors, and a couple of character sprues still in here. Once I finish building my Hate project, my Death Watch, most of this will just go into a bits bin that I'll just sort or give to someone. I've got a bunch of Necron stuff. I think there's still 20 Warriors in here, an Overlord, and some Scorpex. 5 Flayed ones, and a Cryptic that I gotta build. I've got some resin Forge World stuff. This I was humming and hawing for probably the better part of a year and a half. For those who don't know, this is my Guild Ball / Necromunda and Blood Bowl stuff. I haven't played a lot of this in years, so I've been Guild Ball since before I moved back, so 2016. I never actually got to play with my Necromunda Inquisitorial Warband. And then the Blood Bowl, I want to say 2002, 2003 was the last time I played them. I kept them in the cabinet for nostalgia purposes, but I think at this time now I need the space more. I'm honestly never going to play with these again, and the models are quite dated, so I'm just going to post them up for sale, and whatever I can get for them, I can just get them out of the way. And then I have a whole pile of junk that I'm just going to try and sell off. A few of them will go to my friends, so I have a Lac-Levi and some Soul Blight stuff for a friend who's collecting them. I have a few Orc stuff tucked in there. I have a lot of unpainted Guild Ball stuff that's going straight into the sell pile. I have an Forge World Exton Hale, Queen Elizabeth bust, an RAF pilot bust that I'm never going to paint. I've got some odds and ends terrain stuff, some command dice. I have a lot of the Titanicus stuff in here. All the tokens, some dice in there. There's the command modules. Honestly, I'm never going to play the game again, so there's no reason for me to hold on to them. I'd actually rather free up the Primal box that they were in for organizational purposes. So there we are. I think it's important to do this periodically. The last time I did this size of a purge was probably right before lockdown happened, so this would have been winter of 2019. And I know for me it's important to my mental state, to my well-being, to have an organized space that's as free of clutter as possible. And one of the things that really impacts me in a negative way is having a lot of unpainted stuff. I do happen to be a rather impulsive and addictive gamer, and a lot of ideas that pop into my head or that our group gets fired up about, I buy into very easily, and I end up picking up stuff that I want to use for it, and then the project dies and I end up never using it. So I've been doing my best over the past year and a half, 2 years to curb that kind of spending. And over the course of lockdown, just as a way of supporting my local hobby, and then just certain projects just piled up where I thought I wanted to do them, but I didn't. And it's now at the point where moving into 2022, because my goal for the year is to essentially finish next year with 0 unpainted models, there's a lot of stuff here that I'm realistically never going to get to. And because I haven't gotten to them in a year and a half, 2 years, maybe longer, get rid of them, clear them out. I think it'll do wonders for just my creativity and my motivation for the hobby moving forward. I also took some time to reorganize the cabinet, remove all the models, wipe down all the different shelves. Not a whole lot's really changed. I took all my Marvel stuff and moved it from top to the bottom, and then I cleared up some of my unpainted projects, moved them up here, just because I'm not looking at them all the time. And then my Marvel, as I build up the collection, as it gets more painted, I want to look at it more, so that's always nice. You can see here, this is probably about half of my painted stuff. I have the rest of my A-Force and Web Warriors in my carrying case. My convocation, this little bin is my commission stuff, so you can see that I'm about halfway through, and we'll probably have another wave of 12 or 13 next year. And then I have some unfinished Spider Foes, my Black Order, and some odds and ends like Avengers and an Alt Hulk in the back I want to paint. Need to finish my Mecha Gargant at some point this year, maybe bleeding into next year. And then I have a few odds and ends for Necrons I need to finish, but I guess more on that later. Very quickly, my goals for November. I need to finish up the remaining second wave of this Marvel commission. So I have Star-Lord, Moon Knight, Blade, Shuri, Nebula, Dr. Voodoo, and then Hood. And then for my own personal collection, I know for sure I want to finish Enchantress and Angela for my A-Force. I want to finish Killmonger for my Wakanda. I have Kraven and Green Goblin, which will be for my Spider Foes, and then Moon Knight from Web Warriors. And basically this is to round up my existing affiliations and be able to close a book on them and get them out of the way. I know that there is the Rivals box of Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man coming out, but my local store has confirmed that we're not getting that set until probably February of next year. That means I don't have to worry about slotting them into the schedule, which does free up a bit of time because I was expecting to work on them this month. If I have time left over, I'm basically going to try and finish as much of my convocation as I can. And then leading into December, I've allotted that entire month for holiday stuff. I'll be working on my Mecha Gargant getting that done for AOS, and then going back to the convocation. If I can, ideally, I would like to have my convocation done by the end of 2021 as well. But if I don't and they bleed into the next year a little bit, that's not a big deal. One of the ambitious goals I have for 2022 as well is to essentially by year end have no unpainted models. I'm being firm with this. I've said it in the past, but I've always slipped. And 2022, I can feel it. This is my year. My goal is to have no unpainted models by the end of the year. So basically, as part of the purge of being very aggressive, anything that I'm even remotely not going to be interested in painting, getting rid of it. I'm only keeping stuff that I for sure want to paint. And then in the new year, my basic plan is if I'm not going to paint the model immediately, I'm not going to buy it. And for every model I buy, I have to paint 2 models that I already have that are unpainted. This way, I work towards that goal of no unpainted models by the end of the year. It'll be challenging because I'm a pretty impulsive buyer, but thankfully, 40K and Age of Sigmar really haven't been super interesting to me. There's nothing coming up for either of those 2 systems that are going to jump out at me, so I think I'm fairly safe. There's no other games on my radar other than Marvel where I need to buy stuff, so I think we're good. I think 2022 I'll be able to keep on track. Part of the problem too I'm finding is balancing work and content creation has actually been pretty challenging for me this month. I'm finding that between working my 8 or 9 hours a day and then working on painting my own commission or my own projects or working on painting commission stuff, when I'm recording content based on models and paintings, which are like specifically painting tutorials, it's fine. We're good. I can sort of double dip, and it's only a little bit of extra work to plan for editing. That's not a problem. It's a problem, however, when I'm recording content for YouTube that's purely entertainment value. So having to specifically a lot of time and effort to plan and record content that's not tutorial focused is honestly, it's uninspiring for me. I don't find it really interesting to do, and I think based on the YouTube metrics on the view and engagement rates, I don't think people are finding it interesting as well. So I think what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm just going to either stop doing it entirely or only really record the odd video every couple of months where if I feel that this is really helpful to people, I'll record it. I think one of the videos I really do want to do is how to prepare for and attend a tournament, just in terms of what to bring, things that you should consider, and then maybe some basic tournament etiquette, especially now that we're getting back to having events, everyone's being double vaccinated. I think that's a useful video to have just because I often go to tournaments, or at least I used to go to tournaments where people would be very unprepared with these specific things that they wouldn't think about. So that's probably a video I will do in November. And then after that, I'm going to be doing videos that are purely tutorial focused. More than likely, I will do like what I did with the Deathwatch Chaplain and with the Silent King. I'll paint a video, I'll paint a model for each month and then do a series of videos related to how to paint that model and try and break it down into small, digestible chunks. That's pretty much it for me for this month. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to check out my other social media platforms, I'll drop links in the description below. And as always, until next time, happy hobbying.